Herzlich willkommen beim Podcast Growcast, der Podcast für digitales Wachstum, B2B-Marketing und Sales. Wir machen heute ein Experiment. Ich spreche ein bisschen auf Englisch, because I'm not alone here. So nice to meet you, Bricken. I'm very happy to do this episode, especially the first time on English. So I hope we can understand each other. Nice to have you here. How are you doing today?
Doing amazing. Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to it. I mean, my German is B2, as they call it. So
B2.
let's let's see how this will develop.
I think that people don't care about. We can mix it, we can try it, but let's do this in an easy way. So
Yeah.
maybe you can see that in the title. We are talking today about tools don't drive growth, decisions do. So, what's the reason why we have to speak about that? Maybe you can give me a short insight about your mindset when it comes to tools and growth.
Yeah, regarding myself, also important, I feel, for the audience is to understand where I'm coming from. So I
Yeah.
have more than a decade actually leading startups, unicorn companies, fast-paced actually growth communities, and also on the other side in different sectors, right? I started with educational kind of industry like in edu, then I pivoted to B2B on supply chain risk management. That means very complex systems, flows, and also long sales cycles. Also on the other side now, currently on the creator economy, completely on the other side, different mindset, different positioning, and different understanding of the market. So I think would be like a very nice discussion around how someone can really navigate all these different industries and what we can actually share with the audience today. Because I think you need a different set of skill set, but in general, like different thinking process when you jump between these industries and you try like really to push hard and push for the direction of like revenue and optimization for a business startup specifically.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for that. So you see, when I'm trying to do it in a different language, I'm forgetting to make an intro. Like to
That's okay, I'm here.
But thanks for overtaking this part. But okay, so now let's jump to one of my first questions, because this is one thing I have, I'm doing hosting a different podcasts, and there is also a software company from Hamburg which is doing agency software, and then we are talking a lot of stuff in tool settings, tool setups, etc., and costs, etc., and nobody knows what to do with that. So I just want to ask you, why do B2B, especially SaaS companies, keep adding more tools?
I think because they have this kind of like being like very honest, right? Talking with all these founders, we do also consulting to startups, to founders as well. I think they always feel that something is missing. They never do like a proper reflection on the business operations, and what they are chasing actually is like kids are chasing like candies. They are chasing the next shiny thing. This is what I
Yeah.
will use as terminology. So they are looking for the next one, to the next one, to the next one. But what they are missing is they don't really spend proper time to learn the tool that they kind of recently acquired or included in the flow of their operations.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I can tell you that from my perspective. So when we are start working with B2B companies, you have to work with at the first level, with the C level, to define some, KPIs, not some vanity metrics. Nobody cares about impressions or clicks on some fancy ads. But if it comes to the marketing department, then you ask the first question, okay, which tools we have there? So which tools we are using at the moment? And then we have Ahrefs, then we have another different SEO tools. We have a lot of tools. We are spending, I think, about 2 or 3K per person per month to
Even
cover
more.
up. They are just adding it. So I always say, from my side or from our side, tools are often used to create a feeling of progress. And a new tool, a new dashboard is a new hope, but the revenue stays the same. So what I think is, I think it's not that the problem. It's not to talk about tools. It's talking about the decisions. You like to decide. I like to have a tool which is giving me maybe 30% outcome, saving my time by using that task, not manually with automations. But the people are not thinking about that. They see, okay, our competitors, they're using that SEO tool and that AI tool. Let's have it also there, because if our competitor is doing that, we should do it as well. Do you understand what I mean? What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially what you mentioned regarding competitors or your industry, you tend to always have the need to really follow kind of like the as I mentioned before, the shiny objects, right?
Yeah.
Without also understanding, okay, what would be like the value or the ROI positive to me. And I think also all these tools and why this ecosystem is like becoming bigger and bigger. We have like Clay, we have High Reach, we have like Lemless, we have like so many tools that actually at the end of the day, you can of course open an account, play a little bit around, but you don't really take advantage of the full potential that can like really provide to your business. I think the most important is to have really a good understanding and a vision in your mind on how you want to structure everything, and then really define, okay, as a business we will decide and stick to one solution or specific solutions, and then of course, as this is an investment, try to really understand, have proper people supporting you. For example, I mean, you can go and have HubSpot as a CRM, right? I'm working with HubSpot the last 5 years, but if you don't really know what is possible and what you can potentially execute, right? You can do marketing, you can do like a lot of things actually. A person that doesn't have this experience will just go there, create a pipeline, use a pipeline with a flow, a little bit of automation maybe here and there. That's pretty much it. They will say, oh, we have a CRM. But then you go inside, you see data not structured properly.
Yeah.
Data in, data out, the most important thing. They put like so many things inside, duplicates, no categorization, no prioritization, scoring, nothing. So the most important thing is like what I mentioned before, like really double down on the solution and really spend more time and also invest to really take advantage from the full potential that this tool can add to your business.
That's right, and it's very funny. Few days ago, we got an inquiry from a software company from Austria. It was the topic was HubSpot, right? So they have HubSpot since few years. They are working with it, and it's very interesting. So they have a lot of licenses. I think about 50 plus. Break it down, to the customer success management, or then you have the sales and the marketing, and then in the discovery meeting they are filling out some questionnaire, and we are doing pain point understanding and showing them, okay, that's the problem, and in that phases we are going through and make it scalable. But they have all the same problems, especially that case. They have over 35,000 contacts, about 14,000 plus companies which not structured, as you mentioned before. And then they are using for the marketing hub the starter version, and for the sales they are using the professional one, and then they don't even know about how to use the lead stages. They are not operating it in a growth system. They are just happy to say, yeah, we have a CRM and we have HubSpot. And then a few years after that, some years are passed, and then they are coming and they are asking you, can you fix that with your team? And that's a budget problem. Then we are talking about 40 plus K for this project, which takes you 4 to 5 months time to fix that with your team, right?
Exactly. What I always like mention is simplicity beats any sophisticated system out there. I've built systems that are like 3 steps, 4 steps maximum flow with nice kind of process. And I have seen complicated systems with, I don't know, Clay to HubSpot to intent and back and forth. Doesn't mean that it's not important, right? But having a complicated system, it means that first of all, either you have a consultant that can really always be on top and support you and maintain the system, because if you own a beast, right, this beast is hungry, and if it's hungry, you need really to feed this, and this happens from both sides. One, maintenance wise, but also second, leads need to go through this process. If it just stays there and it's sophisticated, super complex, and no one goes through the process, you just have a nice shiny car like a Lamborghini staying out there, but you're not driving it. So what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Of course you can mention you have a Lamborghini, but can you really drive the car? That's important. And the second one, you need internal teams to really maintain that. So you need to decide, and this is what you mentioned, it's budget-wise, mindset, and knowledge-wise as well. Building an internal team, this is also what we try like to communicate to startups is having an internal team is an amazing, but it's expensive.
That's right. I mean, you should ask yourself, like, what decisions will this tool help you make you better and faster? And I think most of the companies are thinking about, okay, yeah, let's have another tool stack because we need that. Let me ask you another question. How do tools distract teams from revenue from your perspective?
Easy. They use the systems in such way that they don't really provide any ROI positive. It's just manual over and over again, repeating itself tasks. And coming back to what we recently discussed as well, right? HubSpot could be a CRM, could be also different other things. And Notion could be note taker, but also could be a CRM as well. So how you use a system, it's really up to how you define it and also capabilities wise, because
Yeah.
you have limitations. And from my understanding, it's also a matter of what your team already has as an experience level on this kind of systems, right? So two things: either like you will spend time again to train them
Yeah.
and make sure that okay, now we have a system, perfect. You are salespeople, for example, you can use it for prioritization, follow-ups, making sure that the lead can move forward. We can close these deals, like everything that is important for a salesperson. Or the second one could be you can use Notion because I don't know, you like taking notes on Notion, and you push it as well to be like CRM. I'm not a fan of Notion CRM, to be honest, but
Yeah.
let's say you want to use it like this, then of course you know that you have limitations. You cannot like really move around, and in the same way as you will move around in a CRM environment, because the environments are different. And you cannot expect from your team members really to know all these different environments as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. To give you an overview, because you mentioned HubSpot and Notion, this both of that tools are, from my opinion, very important to use in a company which is growing very fast. So we have it's a revenue marketing and growth marketing agency. So we are specializing into our growth as well, like not even from the client perspective to help them, but we like to grow as well. So if I'm onboarding or hiring new employees, then the first thing is, because everybody is working remote, right? You are now in a different country. I'm sitting here in Vienna, so we don't have an office and say, okay, let's do a podcast in person. So if you're hiring experts and talents, you need to onboard them on the right way. So I am using, for example, Notion as a knowledge database. So I have my SOPs there. If an inquiry comes in, what to do. So it's exactly everything is prepared so that every person which is joining the company without knowing any process of us is just following the SOPs. We have templates for clients. We have content calendars. We have everything within there. Even agents, AI agents, we linked to each steps. So we like to make sure. And if you start working with us, we don't like to give you a lot of tools. We want to give you one toolkit where you have all your SOPs and processes, and then we're using HubSpot. Why we are using HubSpot? As you say, as a CRM Notion to use, it's a limited and frustrated thing, I think, because you can't move around your pipeline. You have an existing pipeline, you can optimize it. But for me especially is one thing very important when I'm using my forms on my website. I like to limit it that no free mails can send me an inquiry, right? So, and then I have my lead stages there. I have my life cycles there. And I am synchronizing this with my other tools, with my meetings from Microsoft Office, for example, or Teams. So, and the meeting calendar, everything is working and perfect. So instead of thinking around, okay, which tools make sense, I think instead of that, you should ask, did this create pipeline? but most of the teams, they're asking like, is this tool set up correctly, right? So they're taking care about the setup and not if this is creating the pipeline, right?
Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, through my career and still learning, one of the kind of goals that I have set for myself is trying like to keep up with the industry and all these new tools and everything. Why? Because especially on our industry, it's like important when we are leading companies in general, like to really know what is out there, but also how this can be used. So through my career, I like worked with Salesforce, with HubSpot, with Pipedrive. I use Notion as well as CRM. I did this, or I tried at least. And then we had also different other systems, Asana for project management or Trello, or we're like moving around back and forth regarding this. And now recently I was playing around with Atio. If you have a system, of course, doesn't mean that you are like isolated and you never look for another option or you try like to see what can be improved. But before this step, I think the most important is to understand if it works or not. And what you mentioned is, does really completes the tasks, does really provides the ROI positive, does the job at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, got your point. So if we take a step back, so we have a founder, right? And the founder is always looking and asking and searching for a right tool set. If there is one founder coming to you and ask you, Bricken, what can I do to optimize my growth? What do you recommending me to do at the first step? Also, in case of change management, acceptance of the team members, etc. Because we want to scale very fast, we want to grow big. Which advice you want to give him and why?
So before moving like to advices, what we do as operators and during like my consultancy also like with startups, we want always to go one step back and identify and understand and how we frame it is know your numbers, right? Let's first understand where we're currently standing and what is happening and see if something works or doesn't work. Sometimes, because the numbers are increasing, they think that okay, we are doing great, but then you identify in between that they're losing so much money and they never knew about it. And a very
Mm,
quick example, right? When you have inbound leads and you spend a lot of money in marketing, this can happen on very fast growing startup, always happens. What they're missing is because if you have a small team, you don't really have the proper time to spend for per each lead opportunity. So they
yeah,
try like to speed up the process. What happens is as a salesperson, you prioritize the ones that are like more, as we call it, hanging fruits first, then the last ones that could take like a little bit more time.
mm,
And then you tend to skip maybe good opportunities or without doing like a proper needs analysis, lose also like in this kind of process. And this, based on one example and one case study we did and a project with a client was they were like in lost deals, as we call it, dead deals,
hmm,
approximately a value of 50,000 for this business. And 50,000 is not a small number actually based on what they're doing.
yeah,
And what we did is like we took one team member, we just closed and we said, hey, now you will call all of them. You will provide like a specific tailor-made analysis, and then you
hmm,
have the capability of providing them a discount and closing as many as possible.
yeah,
So they did so much revenue out of that as they frame it leads that was actually almost close to 25k, so 50% of what they lost before.
mm,
That's a lot of money actually there. Yeah. And regarding like moving forward, I mean the importance for me is always know your numbers, understand like really where you're currently standing, and moving forward when you want to scale, important is scaling towards what, and also what's the phase of the startup, because it's different
yeah,
scaling from pre-seed to series A or
yeah,
seed round or series B or series C or D, because each one of the steps is like a small baby. I really love this analogy, and this is how I try like to give this to the founders. If you are pre-seed, your prioritization and what you need to aim for is completely different from someone that is on series B, right?
yeah.
And also the capital and everything is different for a specific reason, but you move in different ways. Yeah, it's baby steps. First you go very, very slow, then you go very, very fast.
That's 100%. I'm totally on point with you. So I think, one thing to get this topic done, because before we start doing the podcast, we already talked about also LinkedIn, etc. Where I think that's also a tool in my eyes, because it's a very huge revenue tool if you use it in the right way. But before we jump there in a few seconds, let me explain something what I also always say, or I see that when I start working in B2B companies, the big kill for everybody is head of marketing changes. So the new superhero is coming. And then what is the first thing what he is doing in his majority is, let me add some new tools. We need this, we need that because my previous company used this, etc. And then first of all, they are always, I don't know, picky the CRM. So, bigger SaaS companies, they maybe don't use HubSpot, right? So, and they don't, in Germany you say, sie haben keine Eier. They don't have eggs to change very fast the CRM, because, a lot of data, etc. And then I don't know, it's like excuses. So I can't start doing my work if I don't have HubSpot, if I don't have the right documentation, knowledge platforms like Notions. So when somebody is listening now to this episode and he's thinking, okay, we have actually one of them in our team, what should he know exactly when you start saying, okay, don't take care about this, instead of thinking, implementing without strategy, do that? What's your opinion on that story?
Um, I have only one thing that I always like give us as let's call it as an advice, or I do also by myself, and I can use a personal example. Before you take any decision, or before you have any crazy idea, or before you bring your amazing ideas or achievements from another company, spend minimum 1 month to really understand what the company is doing now, and
Mm,
then you can introduce something new, but with specific reasoning around it, right?
yeah.
And the example, when I joined Talenteer as head of growth, this happened on March 2025. Regarding the specific product I was like focusing, the company was making approximately on volume around 30K per month.
Mhm.
Okay. I told them that I have one condition when I join every company. I stay very silent for the first month, observe everything, ask questions, collect the data, do my analysis, see what is working, what it doesn't work, and also have the one-on-ones with everyone in the decision-making positions. After that, I will come to you with my ideas, but then again, we will like challenge all my ideas based also on your perspective.
Yeah.
After 9 months, as a company, we ended up doing from 30K to 200,000 actually.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
2.4 million, right? What it changes actually, we build a framework, and what we have in place is very simple, but efficient and generates revenue. Yeah, what's important. So challenge always and I think like founders, they should be in these positions where they can challenge also like the reasoning around like new tools, systems. Whenever someone tells to me, and maybe this could be like something that everyone wants to to write in their notes, is whenever says to me, hey, this is a new tool, does X, Y, Z, and whatsoever, just
Mm,
tell them, perfect, amazing, thank you very much. We have a tool. Let's discuss about it afterwards, yeah, after the first month, not in the beginning. But why is it happening is also like the pressure generated for all of these B2B softwares with intent signal now, and buying intent optimization with Clay. Easily you can identify, oh, Bricken just joined the company. If it's very early in the process, it means also he or she wants to introduce something new, right? So
mm,
then it's the perfect match, and they will like push also you to this direction. But you need to manage this. I was like invited by, I don't know, some many companies actually to integrate this to Talenteer, but didn't make any sense because they really didn't spend the time to understand what we are doing as a business. So As you mentioned
Yeah,
before, too many tools for too many reasons.
that's right. And most of them, they don't care about it, what you do. They just give you, they give you an offer, or they're taking your offer and sign the contract and say, let's do that. And they don't understand it. And I don't know, but it's the same story if you have some companies and they are spending a lot of money for ads. Like they have a budget from 20K per month, and they are still burning money. They are optimizing, the marketing is optimizing for impressions on the website. They are using the homepage as a landing page, which means it's like I don't know, that's the worst case what you can do. So what we have done is, before we start doing, like you said, you need to analyze everything, and we do the first month in most of all cases for free, because we like to invest our time to understand everybody, each decision maker, like stakeholder. You have to talk with them, you have to understand them, you have to speak with the sales, not even the VP of sales or the head of sales. So you have to talk also with the rev ops, right? Because they are also when lead is coming in, they are qualifying and they are taking care about it. So you have to understand, you have to do your homework, and after you get your data, then you can start implementing your system, which is generating really qualified leads, and it's on revenue marketing based. So I think, and this is also a problem when you start doing thought leadership on LinkedIn, which we has talked about before we start doing the podcast. So I think the quality even there. So LinkedIn is a tool for me. I'm using it in my not even daily based operations, but in the meantime, I'm shooting out my posts. I'm writing about some topics. Last time I did some case study with AI search optimization by using an AI tool. And I did it in rank scale. I was looking for some search terms, and then, okay, let's do that. I'm trying that out and I'm writing an article, and bam, next day it was cited and generating visibility. And I'm tracking it. I'm defining my money prompt. So I'm using that tool efficiently to make revenue, to generate visibility for that money prompts, which is getting me leads from my ICPs, right? So what's your opinion on, I don't know if I can say that, using LinkedIn as a tool?
I see these social media platforms because today it's LinkedIn. Back in the days when I started, it was Facebook, Instagram. Before that was High Five. I don't know if people know that. MySpace, MCN,
MySpace, yeah.
MCN, MSN,
MSN,
MSN.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, we were like sending like every social media platform introduces to the new generation or to the existing generation different skill sets and also different characteristics as well, right?
Mhm.
I started in LinkedIn 5 years ago. My plan in general, like for all the social media profiles, should be long-term game and also building credibility, branding that's around you, like a nice positioning, as I call it. And based on that, you move forward and you can do projects, you can do your own business, you can work for companies, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
What is missing from this world is actually credibility and connection. And by the way, it's very interesting. I was recently in Dubai for the 1 Billion Forest Summit, like very great event with a lot of agencies, influencers, Generation Z, of course, and people that they make millions. Are like business people, like
Mhm.
oriented in the mindset, hardcore. One of the things that was like very strange to me, I can mention as a person that I started with door-to-door sales, that if someone has tried this knows how painful it is that social skills are like missing nowadays. If you go and talk to someone or connect with someone directly, they feel insecure. They feel that something is going wrong. They feel
Yeah.
that something is off. And why is that? Because everyone spends so much time on the phone or on the PC or whenever, on connecting, chatting, and everything.
Mhm.
Not that I mean it's wrong or right, but this gives us these characteristics. LinkedIn will be powerful in the next 5 years. Why? Because the people that were like now starting slowly, they are wannabe founders, providing solutions, services, but also it's important from the other side, reverse, right? As a company, where do I find great talents? For me, being completely honest, I never judge by a CV. I have
Yeah.
hired more than 150 people during my career for my companies, for other companies. I was getting paid as well to do that as a recruiter. I don't really care about the CV. Why? Of course, for the basic fundamentals, it's not as disrupting the whole market, but you can read just the cover, right? It's like movies. You can read what is happening, but
Yeah.
if you don't really watch the movie, you cannot really have a nice understanding and experience doing that.
Yeah.
So these kind of connections is important, and you can find this on LinkedIn. I was approached by companies because I'm posting on LinkedIn. I'm being there. I'm being also on the pedestal, right? Because they can judge me as well by what I'm writing. Probably some people that don't like it, other people that love it. Again, it depends. But being out there and also communicating what you believe, not being fake, and also showing your skill sets, your strengths, your core values, really can open doors that you never imagined,
Yeah.
and it happens.
Yeah. Definitely. We was talking about numbers, revenue from LinkedIn, which we pulled out by doing personal branding. But that's a secret topic, so it's not for the audience. But one thing what I like to add there is, if you say, okay, then you start as a vice president for marketing at my company, and what do you gonna do? Then I would say the first thing on my agenda would be like, each employee gets a premium account on LinkedIn. That's the first step. And the second step is, we are doing a whole week thought leadership trainings, one-on-ones, especially with the sales guys and ladies. And then I'm gonna creating them a beautiful profile which is feeling like a personal landing page. Why? Because people are buying from people. If you start running, I always say, fancy ads can't fix a bad product. So, and if you're writing from a company perspective on LinkedIn and like to advertise and telling which nice tool you have based on your company, it's an logo and it's an text from a company. Nobody cares about it because it's a feature fucking show. You're just talking about features. But if you have the like, sales guy, women's, and they are writing about experience and why we are doing this, especially from that perspective, which is helping you solving problems, preventing problems, generating revenue, and saving time by using our solution, or not even talking about the solution, right? So we are doing personal branding, we are doing thought leadership content, we are not advertising our company. We are not doing any kind of bullshit of that. So we are speaking about processes, talking about AI visibility, etc. Name it. And this is then when the like other people ringing the bell, but we are opening the door if the right ICP is knocking on your DMs. And this is the thing. And forget outreach. Nobody cares about your messages. You're sending requests and then you're hitting the pitch button. So this is also not creating value and trust. So I think that's one thing what I want to implement. So everybody should be a presentive person on LinkedIn and doing personal branding, because all this fancy stuff and tools, they can't work if you're not full into the company. But that's a problem. It's a mindset about employee versus self-employed. So if you're thinking from your perspective, you're not working as an employee at a company 40 hours a week, so they don't care about it. They are shutting down the computer and they are going doing some other stuff in their free time. But we are thinking about growing and what we can implement, right?
True, and I mean, doubling down on what you mentioned, right? Even if we think about sales, that's the core kind of machine generating revenue for a company, right? When you do sales, you cannot really be aggressive. If someone does it nowadays, probably not being 100% sure, but 99.9, they're not successful. Consultative approach, consultative sales is the best sales kind of strategy out there, right? Providing value first to your customers, building trust, building this connection will unlock you doors that it's not possible to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
I have so many people are coming to my DMs pitching me this tool, this optimization, and two things. One, you can really understand from the first message that they never did any basic kind of research about you, what you are doing. So
Yeah.
someone was pitching to me AI automations. So like I do this as bread and butter. This is what I'm doing. This is how I survive in this world. It's like doesn't make any sense. Then the second one is they never gave any information. They never connected really. They just shoot the message and they play the game of numbers. This is sales, of course, I understand, but it's a no long-term game. Doesn't work, will not work. I never bought anything that someone really pitched me on LinkedIn. I'm 5 years on LinkedIn. I never bought, like this can be like, I don't know, highlighted. Never bought anything, any service. I never like even tried anything that someone pitched me on LinkedIn. And I will never do.
Yeah, I got it. I opened
On
just my
DMs.
link. I opened just my LinkedIn account and there is somebody sending me a request and he's account manager and I accept it. And now I'm waiting for the pitch. Then I can I have my
Live demonstration.
yeah, no yeah, about data privacy, but yeah.
No, no, in general, it's a
In
live
general, yeah.
demonstration of how this works.
Yeah, because they are sending you a request and then you okay, let's accept it and let's wait for the pitch and then they are writing you and you're not answering and then they have a follow-up. They're doing a great job, but that don't pull me out to write them back. If I see they are writing me 5-6 times, then I'm okay, guy, listen, I don't like any response from now. Please shut the hell and then go away. So this is, I think, how to close maybe also the podcast. I think it was a very interesting and very deepful conversation. Thank you very much for your insights. I feel very comfortable to do that in English. Maybe that's I pitched you also on LinkedIn for doing the podcast, so thank you for accepting that, and maybe we can do another episode in other stuffs. It would be great.
Yeah, definitely. Why not? I mean, it was a pleasure to be here. It's very, very nice. And also, like, if we want to give one main thing from today's episode, I will break it down in two because one is limiting already my mind. I don't work in one or two, I work in threes.
Yeah.
So the one definitely would be social media company first, be media company first as a company. Whether you are selling, I don't know, chocolates or anything, you go to social media. You need to be there because your customers are there. Everyone is in social media right now. If you do B2B, you need to be on LinkedIn, period. You don't have other options anyways, yeah?
Yeah.
Except if you want to go on TikTok and do dance moves and whatever. Of course works, but not in the same way. Then the second one is be honest, be transparent, really post unique content, provide value and value and value again, and then you can ask for something. Don't sacrifice what you are building on your profile, especially for one promotion, one tool, because also I see this happening and makes sense. We are going to this direction, but focusing on your content is important for your personal brand. Everyone on your team should do that. It's a must, and not for free, because some people that try to do it pay your employees a bonus on performance, on inbound leads that they bring, on referrals, on affiliates, on everything. They will perform better.
Yeah. This is the thing what everybody is listening and nobody is doing. So this is a very great close for this episode. And one thing from my side, if you think, wow, that was great, nice breakdown, but I'm not sure to do that because my posts doesn't get that attention. Don't measure likes and don't measure any comments. Measure your DMs. You will, I promise you, in few months, you make a great side hustle by just using LinkedIn. Don't care about likes, don't care about any shit KPIs which is giving you bad vibes. In that case, thank you for watching and hearing the podcast episode. It was a pleasure to speak with you, Bricken, and
Definitely looking forward to it. Thank you very much for having me. Wishing all the best to the audience, and don't just listen, execute as well. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you and don't forget to subscribe the podcast. Thank you und bis zum nächsten Mal.